All right, thank you. I will call this special called meeting of the Tennessee Board of Regents to order and welcome again to all and to those who may be joining us. We are, of course, being live streamed, and this meeting will be archived as well per state law. With that, on this pretty Tennessee spring morning, Kate, would you call the roll for us?
Yes, ma'am. Since this is an electronic meeting, there are two questions that need to be answered by regents for the record. First, can the regent simultaneously hear and speak with others participating in the meeting? Second, is the regent alone? If the answer to both questions is yes, the regent can simply answer yes to both questions. Anyone who is not alone should identify any other people present in the room with the regent. When I call your name, please answer these two questions. Governor Lee. Regent Burdine.
Yes to both.
Regent DeWitt.
Yes to both.
Regent Gentile.
Yes, and I have my dog Beans in here too.
Regent George.
Yes to both.
Regent Harrell.
Yes to both.
Commissioner Hatcher.
Yes to both.
Regent Hooper.
Yes to both.
Regent Kastner.
Yes to both.
Regent Kelchin.
Yes to both.
Regent Powers.
Present. Yes to both.
Vice Chair Reynolds.
Yes to both.
Commissioner Reynolds. Regent Richardson.
Yes to both.
Regent Roberts.
Yes, I'm here, and yes to both.
Regent Spurgeon.
Yes to both.
Regent Stevenson.
Yes to both.
Regent Barlin. Regent White.
Yes to both.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much. We are meeting electronically this morning. Since before us are non-controversial and routine items, I would propose that we adopt the necessity to meet electronically by unanimous consent. But of course, as always, if anyone objects, feel free to do so, in which case we will have a roll call vote. Is there any objection to this necessity to meet electronically? Hearing none, the necessity is adopted, and I thank you all. We had a preview last month with Dr. White on our FY 2026 tuition and fee recommendations. And today these are coming before us for approval in this process. With that, Dr. White, would you take over from here and guide us in this conversation? And again, we hope to make efficient and good use of everyone's time this morning. So thank you, Dr. Fox.
Yes. Thank you, Vice Chair Reynolds, Chancellor, members of the board. As was just noted, I presented this in detail at our February board meeting, so I'm going to keep this presentation to a minimum. Next slide, please. On the following slides, I'm going to include the recommended tuition and fee rates for academic year 25-26. Next slide, please. As noted in February, we were awaiting THEC's meeting to set the binding tuition range for academic year 25-26. At the March 19th commission meeting, THEC voted to set a binding tuition range of 0 to 6.5%. Next slide. So we will start with the mandatory fee request submitted by our community colleges and recommended for approval by TBR staff. You have 2 mandatory fee increases and 1 mandatory fee decrease, which were included in your materials. The Jackson State International Ed increase and the Southwest Community College decrease were discussed at length in February, so I'm going to skip the detail on those, but happy to answer questions if needed. The Nashville State student government fee increase was inadvertently left off of our February presentation. As you may recall, last year we discussed this fee when it was increased by $2. This fee was approved and proposed by Nashville State in academic year 23, but due to how our mandatory fees calculate into the binding tuition range, it required us to incrementally implement these increases to arrive at the original proposed rate of $5 that you see on the screen today. So I'm happy to answer any questions about these mandatory fees as presented today? If not, I will move on. Next slide, please. We will review the non-mandatory fee request for the colleges recommended for approval by TBR staff. These fees do not factor into that binding fee range as they're tied specifically to a course or activity and not charged to every student enrolled. These recommendations include the elimination of 2 fees and addition of 7 miscellaneous non-mandatory course fees. This slide provided in your materials details the courses for which these fees apply. The elimination shown at Columbia and Dyersburg, as well as the increase at Dyersburg State, Northeast State, and the TCAT increase were discussed at length in February, so I'm not going to go into detail on those. The Nashville State Culinary Art Lab fee and the Pellissippi Aviation course fee were inadvertently left off in the February presentation. These are highlighted on the chart here for you, and both of these are new fee requests, and the need is based on the cost to offer the programs and maintain equipment and consumable supplies. TBR staff has reviewed these requests and find these requests to be reasonable and in line with other TCAT and community college miscellaneous course fees in place currently. I'll be happy to answer any questions about these non-mandatory fees if anyone has them. Okay, seeing none, we'll move into the tuition recommendation for academic year 25-26. Next slide, please. The next 2 slides show the credit hour and trimester rate change in dollars for both the community colleges and TCATs respectively. Again, this slide was presented in February. The current slide here is showing you the dollar amount change at the community colleges for all tuition types. So as you can see here, we're recommending a 3.5% tuition increase, which results in a $6 a credit hour increase for base hours, which are hours up to 12, and a $3 above base credit hour rate increase for in-state tuition and mandatory fees. The Regents Online or Tennessee eCampus rate, the E-rate, and the dual enrollment rate all follow the in-state recommendation and increase by 3.5%. Regarding the out-of-state rate, as we discussed in February, the recommendation before you today includes a 79% premium on out-of-state tuition using the current in-state rate of $185 a credit hour. This will make the new out-of-state rate $331 a credit hour for base hours, again, those up to 12, and $66 above base per credit hour rate. This is a 54% reduction in our current approved out-of-state rate versus the new proposed out-of-state rate. Next slide, please. This slide shows the dollar amount trimester rate change for our TCATs, which is $47 a trimester. Next slide. And our final chart shows the dollar amount change as well as the percent change broken down by individual school for the community colleges. The average annual increase at the community colleges is $162. You will see the changes in mandatory fees recommended in the 4th column on this chart. You will note that the combined totals differ minimally among the community colleges due to any mandatory fees previously approved and being assessed by those colleges. You will also see the $141 annual increase for the TCATs that I mentioned previously at the bottom of this chart. Next slide, please. That concludes the review of the maintenance fees, out-of-state tuition, and mandatory and non-mandatory fee recommendations for academic year 25-26. If there are specific questions I can address, I'm happy to do that at this time. Otherwise, Vice Chair staff formally recommends approval of the presented maintenance fees, mandatory fees, non-mandatory fees, and out-of-state tuition. Vice Chair, I think you're muted.
Sorry, you guys. Any questions for Dr. Fox as you've had a chance to reflect on this over the past few weeks and then hear it once again, of course, this morning? I will ask Dr. Gentile from a THEC perspective. Any thoughts from your end? It looks like we're right in the middle of that range you all proposed.
Yeah, I was going to, first of all, I also see Regent Harold has his hand up as well.
Oh, thank you. I did not see that. Thank you.
Yeah, so the commission met last week and expanded that range to 6.5%, mainly to accommodate we didn't get the full appropriation that we requested, but also Tennessee State University and where they are in their financial challenges. So I just want to take the moment to say to commend the staff and the board for considering a tuition increase that's well below the cap of that range.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Regent Harrell, I'm sorry I didn't see your hand up. Please go ahead.
That's okay. I think I said this at the February meeting, but just in case I didn't, I wanted to say thank you to Dr. Fogg. She spent a lot of time with me going through that. I think we spent about 2 hours talking about this so I could understand it. I went into that meeting concerned about the reduction in the out-of-state tuition rate, but once that was the reasoning behind that was explained, it makes perfect sense as to why we're doing that. So I just wanted to say that it was given a lot of thought, and I appreciate the time that Dr. Fox spent with me to help me understand it.
Very good. Thanks for sharing
Thank you.
that. Anyone
you.
else? Hearing no further comments, I am going to turn to our finance chair, Tom White, and get his reaction and see if you guys are ready, if he would offer a motion for approval for these recommendations.
Yeah, more than happy to make the motion to approve these recommendations and add a quick appreciation to Dr. Fox and her team for the good work on this.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion. May we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Was that you, Miles?
Yes.
Thank you. A second from Regent Burdine. Any other comments? Hearing none, since we are meeting electronically, this will require a roll call vote. Kate, let's go.
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Regent DeWitt,
Aye.
Regent George,
Aye.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Aye.
Regent Harrell,
Aye.
Regent Hooper,
Aye.
Regent Kastner,
Aye.
Regent Kelchin,
Aye.
Regent Powers,
Aye.
Vice Chair Reynolds,
Aye.
Regent Roberts,
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon,
Aye.
Regent Stevenson,
Aye.
and Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much, and thanks to everybody for the work that's gone into this. We have second before us a program approval from one of our community colleges. Dr. Reed, would you do the honors this morning?
Thank you, and good morning, Vice Chair Reynolds, Chancellor Titans, and members of the board. It's my privilege to present to you today Tennessee's first Associate of Applied Science and Speech Language Pathology Assistant Program, or we'll refer to it as SLPA through this presentation at Rome State. This program is designed to address the state's critical shortage of trained speech language professionals and expand access to essential services in both educational and healthcare services. Joining me in this presentation will be Vice Chancellor Alicia Fox, and on behalf of President Whaley, Dr. Diane Ward, the Chief Academic Officer and VP of Student Learning, is here as part of the presentation as well. Just as a refresher to the board, the process for a program that is new to the state goes through a vigorous review. We have a committee made up of academic affairs, policy and strategy, finance, sometimes legal is a part of that committee, as well as members from THEC. We spend several months going through the review and revision process of the college to get it ready for you. And we also do a site visit either virtually or on ground as part of the review process to bring it to you. I want to start to highlight here with this new program. It will equip students with essential skills, licensure preparation, and hands-on experience to support licensed speech language pathologists and improve access to vital speech language services, especially in rural and underserved areas. In terms of the highlights, this will be the first of its kind in Tennessee. There's no other associate program in the state that prepares students for this high demand career. In terms of curriculum, it is a 63 credit hour program. 23 credit hours are in general education, 27 credit hours are in major field core, and 12 credit hours of elective. In terms of what this allows a person to do, it's the SLPA. It expands the reach of licensed SLPs by conducting therapy sessions under supervision. They can implement treatment plans and track patient progress, and they can prepare therapy materials and assist with speech screenings. By handling these critical support tasks, SLPAs can support SLPs to serve more patients efficiently, reduce caseload burdens, and improve overall care. Despite this growing demand, Tennessee has never offered an associate program at this level, thus forcing organizations and people to either pursue a full master's degree as a speech language pathologist, seek SLPA training out of state beyond Tennessee, or simply enter the field without formal credentials. As one of the impacts of that is that there are overburdened caseloads. Many Tennessee SLPs manage 61 plus up to 200 students per caseload when the national average is 47 patients per caseload. So this leaves many patients underserved. Schools and healthcare providers who depend on this role often rely on expensive outside agencies that they have to contract to fill these gaps. And then there are longer commutes for SLPs who have to travel from larger cities to our more rural areas to serve them. A 2022 Tennessee Department of Education survey revealed that 32 school districts in Tennessee had SLP vacancies lasting over 6 months. And 64% of special education directors identified that they worried they couldn't meet student therapy needs within the next 5 years. We also want to look at the growth and workforce demand of this program. Tennessee projects a 31% increase in demand for SLPs up to 2028. Currently, there are over 284 plus open SLPA positions statewide, indicating an urgent need for these professionals to be trained. And rural districts suffer the most, often losing trained professionals to urban areas. Projected growth in the field is a 6% national growth across the country, and Tennessee is looking at a 19% growth rate for the state. In terms of the competitive salary and potential for this career, national salary is right around $50,000. Local salary, and we're basing this on working with Grace Rehabilitation Center, which is going to be one of the partners, is $45,000 to $62,000 annually with training from this program. Grace Rehabilitation Center currently only serves 2 school districts due to the staffing shortage, yet 18 school districts have identified an urgent need for SLPA support. So again, this program would be groundbreaking in terms of meeting urgent workforce needs, retaining and trained professionals in rural communities, reducing reliance of healthcare and educational organizations on costly contractors, and ensuring more individuals receive life-changing speech language services. It will be located at Roane State's main campus in Harriman, and anticipated launch will be for fall 2025. Next slide, please. Just want to highlight that this program aligns with key state and institutional initiatives, including Tennessee's commitment to education, workforce development, and economic growth. The proposed program aligns with THEC State Master Plan by addressing the state's economic and workforce development by training skilled workers in a high-demand field. It also aligns with TBR strategic plan and our commitment to improve the condition of individuals and families through the state through economic mobility. It also supports the mission of Roane State Community College by broadening opportunities for residents of its service area to access the educational program to enrich lives. And we will bridge this gap between education and industry through this program. Next slide, please. At this time, Vice Chancellor Alicia Fox will highlight the revenue and cost projections, and then she will be followed by Dr. Diane Ward, and then we will open up from questions for the board. So Alicia.
Thank you. So this slide presents the projected revenue and expense budget for the program. It's broken down in sections with expenditures in the top section and revenue in the bottom. The budget includes a planning year and then years 1 through 3 of the projected program budget using THEC's financial projection template. As you can see, the planning year includes $8,500 in one-time expenditures of equipment and technology, including a smartboard, sample therapy materials, anatomical models, and low AAC or augmentative alternative communication equipment, as well as salary and benefits for one program director who will also serve as an instructor. In years 1 through 3, you will see that the one program director salary continues and is adjusted for cost of living increases, as well as a modest supply and travel budget for the program. The last section of the chart shows projected enrollment and graduate numbers that drive these revenue estimates. While there are no directly comparable programs offered at Roane State, the goal is to admit at least 12 students per academic year into the SLPA program. I'm happy to answer questions regarding the financial projections of the program.
Let's hear from Dr. Diane Ward, and then we'll open up all questions for the board. So Dr. Ward.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Reed, and good morning, Vice Chair Reynolds, Chancellor Tidings, and members of the board. I appreciate your time this morning and appreciate you listening to me as our president is currently out. So Roane State has a long history of providing healthcare professionals and collaborating with local groups to meet the workforce needs in our area. The college currently offers 19 health programs, 12 of those are degrees and 6 are certificates. So we have a variety of healthcare fields that we're already familiar with and working in our area to support. The proposal before you is for speech language pathology assistant to meet that growing demand, as Vice Chancellor Reed highlighted, is speech language pathology in our service area especially. She mentioned the projected growth being 19% in Tennessee by 2030. When we break that down, that's approximately 280 open positions that will need to be filled each year. Locally, there's documented need for this program and graduates from that program to fill the need. Those are provided in the letters of support in the proposal. The need reflects obviously a growing need in our area, and Roane State services a very rural area for much of our service area, and this will allow the students from this program who are stakeholders in those rural communities to stay in their local communities and meet this need. Because of the design of the program with 100 hours of supervised field work, the students will be able to pursue 2 licensures and a certificate from the American Speech Language Hearing Association, license from the Tennessee Board of Communicative Disorders and Sciences, and a license from the Tennessee School Service Personnel for speech language pathology assistance. So the program will help address a shortage not only in the state, but primarily in our area and help us meet that need. And what we like to see is our students being able to stay in their local communities, be employed, and make a difference. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Again, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Reynolds. That concludes our presentation, and we're happy to take any questions.
Anyone have anything on your mind this morning? Yes, go ahead.
Adam, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, ma'am, I don't have any questions. I just want to say, Dr. Ward and crew, compliments for solving another problem in our state. And I hope it can be copied all across the state.
Well said. The letters of support were certainly compelling. Regent White, I think you have your hand up.
I do, and I have it up because my daughter-in-law lives in Atlanta and works in this field. But so am I right in that we have not offered this program anywhere within the state before? So this is new for the whole system?
This is new for the associate level. There are graduate level programs for the next level of this career pathway. So this is new to the state for TBR.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes.
I can also input that our program director has already been in contact with the universities in our area although this is an AAS program designed for those students to immediately enter the workforce upon completion. She's been working on pathways so that the students can go on to complete a bachelor's degree. So those pathways are also in the works.
Good.
Excellent. Anyone else?
If I may, I just want to say that my chief academic officer, Julie Roberts, said that our team is very impressed by the program developer, Shelley, at the campus, and just generally impressed by the leadership going into this program. So we're excited to see it.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Dr. Denchel. Does this now go to THEC for approval? Is that the next step?
Yes, so once this board approves it, I will request it be on THEC's commission's next meeting, and I will present, this team will present again for their approval. And again, that's only for programs that are new to the state that I take it to THEC. If it is a duplicated program from one community college to another, and we can approve it here, and then it's ready to implement.
Okay. Thank you for that distinction. So thanks to Dr. Gentile for those words. This certainly seems like an idea that it will certainly serve the state well, as Regent Burdine said. If there's no further conversation or questions, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll move for approval.
I'm sorry, I heard Regent DeWitt first, I think, and a second.
Yep, Miles.
Thank you, Regent Burdine. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, Kate, would you once again call the roll for us?
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent DeWitt.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Commissioner Hatcher.
Aye.
Regent Harrell.
Aye.
Regent Hooper.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Kelchin.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Vice Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Roberts.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, everyone. And to Dr. Ward and Dr. Reed and Dr. Fox, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We look forward to hearing more as the program comes out of the ground and grows. That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if there's one thing this group is accustomed to, it is the inevitability of change on occasion when it comes to the leadership of our institutions. Dr. Mixa has accepted an exciting new offer in Johnson County, Kansas with their community college. So, Chancellor, I think we may need to take an action this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. As you are all aware, President Mixa did recently submit a letter of resignation effective June of 2025. The search criteria for the next president of Walters State was provided in your materials prior to today's special call meeting. The criteria is the standard used for all community college presidential searches. The only difference is where it was modified with specific information regarding Walters State. Upon approval, the position will be posted and the recruitment process will begin. And we have asked Miles to please serve as our chair of this committee, along with Ross Roberts, who has agreed. Our student regent Caleb has agreed, and Danny Varlin has agreed to serve. We are now working to get our community members and our college level staff appointed to the committee. So, Madam Chair, with your permission, I would ask that this be accepted for a vote.
Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you, Regent Burdine and our three other regents, for your willingness to serve. Any questions or comments for the Chancellor on this? Hearing none, Regent Burdine, would you like to offer the motion to approve the search criteria for our next president at Walters State?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. I move for approval.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
Shane Hooper, second.
Thank you, Regent Hooper. Any further discussion? If not, we have a motion and a second. Let's take a roll call vote to approve this search criteria.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent DeWitt.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Commissioner Hatcher.
Aye.
Regent Harrell.
Aye.
Regent Hooper,
Aye.
Regent Kastner,
Aye.
Regent Kelchin,
Aye.
Regent Powers,
Aye.
Regent Reynolds,
Aye.
Regent Roberts,
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon,
Aye.
Regent Stevenson,
Aye.
Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. And we thank Dr. Mixa for his 9 years of service to Walters State, and certainly wish him well. Appreciate him finishing this academic year with us. That's very important. My final piece of business this morning is really just a quick announcement that does not require any action on your part at this time, but will in the coming weeks. As most of you know, every 2 years we conduct an evaluation of the chancellor, and that time is upon us again. We designate our Personnel and Compensation Committee Chair, Nisha Powers, to lead the effort, and she is in agreement with that. What we begin with, though, is a couple of steps, one of which needs your active participation. The chancellor first does a self-assessment that is submitted to us for our review. And along with that, you will receive a survey to answer, reflecting on her self-assessment, and then, of course, in the survey, adding your views in several important categories. All of that will concur through Chairman Powers and with the very able assistance of April Preston over the course of the month of April. We will review all of this in May. And at our June meeting, you will see the results of the survey and on the approval of that evaluation. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, just know this is coming your way. It's an important process. We have had, I think, 100% participation from all of our regents over this important evaluation in previous years, and hope we will meet that mark again in this very, very important process, as I said. So thank you all, and thanks to Regent Powers for taking this on. That concludes our agenda, but let me pause and turn to the Chancellor. I should have said this at the beginning, Chancellor, but as I turn this to you for any other comments or announcements, a big round of applause and a big thanks to the whole team who pulled off an amazing SOAR Awards presentation at the end of February. We did not have a chance to meet afterward to really sort of bask in the team's success, but to everyone, thank you. I know that that's a busy week coupled with the board meeting, and it was an amazing night and really an honor for all of us to be there. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I want to echo your words as well to the whole team. It is a group effort, and again, they outdid themselves. Every year, I think it can't get any better, and it does. It is just an exciting time and just something that's so special for us to celebrate the great work that goes on at all of our colleges. Thanks to each of you for voting on these things today. Stephen, thank you for your kind words about our budget proposal. We feel good that we were able to stay well below what THEC had recommended. And I do want to call out Alicia and her team again for the hard work that they put into working with each and every one of the colleges to make sure that we are in good financial shape and that everything is going the way that it should. Great things are happening. We've got good news with the governor's budget. I'll just mention that quickly to you that we haven't had a chance to send that out, but right now in the amended budget, we did receive the additional $21.3 million for our TCAT Memphis project that's so important, our aviation school there. So yes, Regent Powers, we're excited about that being in there. And an additional $3 million a year for reoccurring dollars over at TCAT Henry Carroll to take on a new facility there to do the K-12 training for all of Carroll County in that new facility. So again, that was kind of an unexpected gift that we're pretty excited about. So good news in the amended budget, nothing has dropped out so far. We are having a good legislative season. So hope y'all keep knocking on wood that everything continues that way. And thank y'all again for taking time to meet this morning and take care of all of this very important business.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for all you do. Does anyone else have any business to come before us this morning? If not, as Chancellor said, thanks for your time. We know your days are busy, and thanks for all the time you give TBR. And in fact, we've got some time coming up as we meet here soon at Paris Landing for a couple of days of our retreat and work session. So we're looking forward to that. If there is no other business to come before the board, we will give you your day back. And my friends, we are adjourned. Talk soon. Bye-bye.